to Nigerian women. My name is Ibukun.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abidemi, and welcome to today's episode.
Yeah. Now, it's going to be an energizing one, despite Sisi's welcome.
It's cold. I'm cold.
It's
That's why.
freezing in summer in the UK. It's really weird. And anyways, we're
Summer is
dressed
not
beautifully.
summering.
It's not summering at all. But today's episode, we're going to do a bit of a get to know me. And we'll just share it through things that have shaped us into the women that we are today. Sissy, do you want to share something that has shaped you
Can we
into who you
first
are
talk about
today?
your beautiful attire that you got from Nigeria?
Please tell them about it. Tell them
Can you
about it.
tell me about it?
Well, it's a kaftan with a velvet trim, as you can see. By the way, we're open to sponsorship. We are very happy for you to sponsor us.
Yeah.
And also, like, share, and subscribe. We're still a growing podcast, so please do all that and do it on every platform you're listening to or viewing us on. So yes, I got this captain. It was ready-made from a boutique. It is I think you will call this adire.
Yeah,
That's
Adire.
the name of the
Yes.
material.
The
And it has
pattern.
a beautiful velvet
Pattern.
trim.
Mm,
Let me
that
stand
pattern.
actually. Let's see if you can see most of it. It
Yeah.
goes all the way to the floor, and the velvet trim has tails.
I love the
Beautiful
I
tails.
love the trim.
Yeah, so it flows. It flows as I move. So yes, even though it's not summering, I like the look and feel of what I'm wearing, which is why I'm wearing it. So yes, that's what I'm wearing. Thank you, Sissy, for complimenting my fashion.
Anyway, so things that
Yeah.
shape. So before the word affirmation became a thing, I used to stand in the mirror as a child. I would look at myself and call my name countless times. I would say, call my name, call my name, call my name, call my name. Like I am, like this is who you are. You are. And I don't know why I did that because now when I think back on it, it was self affirmation without knowing that that's what it was. But it's almost like I was trying to affirm my identity and who I was and who I was becoming and being bold and fearless and also proud of the person that I am. And I was
Hmm.
really young. So I think I started this maybe when I was 6 or 7. But it's something that I did until I was a teenager and I stopped. But yes, it was something that I looked whenever I came across a mirror, I looked at myself and called and looked back at myself back and forth and called my name while affirming I am beating me. This is like you are pointing at the mirror, you are beating me kind of thing. And I didn't
Mm,
realize what I was doing. But now when I think
mm,
back, I think there was a lot of self affirmation without trying to affirm myself. But yes,
that's how.
that is one thing I remember, which it only clicked, I think last year or last 2 years that that's what I did without,
Mm,
yeah, that's what I was doing. Yes, that's one.
okay. Okay. So for me, in my early years, one thing that I believe shaped me is what I also consider to be my earliest memory because I generally can't remember anything significant before that time. And I must have been 2 years old. And the reason it's this accurate is because it was when my younger brother
Was
was born. And all I remember, so the memory is me screaming at the top of my voice, I want my baby, which must have been an interesting sight for anyone seeing a 2 year old screaming, I want my baby. Because all I can infer from that memory, and I've shared with my mom before, but obviously my mom was going through labor, so she doesn't remember me screaming, I want my baby. But it must have been, I was so enamored with the thought of having a younger sibling that I wanted to see him, and they were drawing me away from my mom, who I knew had my sibling in her. So me screaming, I want my baby. I want my baby. The way it shaped me is my younger brother is I'm still his biggest fan, if you will, and cheerleader. Even though as his big sister, I do tell him off as required
Yeah.
because that's what big sisters do.
True. Yeah.
What it shapes is, if you will, my care for people that I love, in terms of I want to be there for you. I want to be there at times where I think you need me,
Yes.
and hope you do need me, and obviously not make a nuisance of myself. So that is a something that has shaped me, and it is my earliest memory. Okay. And this will go really quickly, but yeah, we're just sharing, just also as a way of you getting to know us, things that make us the way we are, and probably, not probably, definitely influences our thoughts and opinions as of today. So, Sissy, back to you. Share something else that has shaped you.
So, um, in my first year in university, I had maybe I don't know how many, but I think I had about 17 or 18 subjects that I was doing. It was a fluke, as far as I'm concerned. I just coasted through. I just didn't bother about like reading. I did my assignments, but that was it.
Mm,
And then in my second year, I then something clicked. Something happened, which I don't want to go into. Something
mm,
happened that clicked that made me realize I can be anything and do anything and do as well as I want to if I set
mm,
my heart and my mind to it. And it was like a
mm,
revelation.
mm,
And I just went for it. I went
mm,
I went for it. So I was on a maybe a low 2-1. I was on the first class in my first year, so I was on the first class. And then my
mhm,
second year I went to a 2-1,
mhm,
medium. Then my third year I kind of accelerated. So obviously, because I had let a lot of things slip in my second year, I was in a low 2-1. I had my year, and then also when you go to university, your first and your second year are like experimental years. Your lecturers are getting to know you. They can be quite nice about it and give you your marks and just are quite encouraging and kind and thoughtful and understanding. And then in
mm,
your 3 and your 4, you have to prove yourself. So they're quite stingy with their marks.
mm,
But it was that realization. And I wish with all my heart that I got that revelation in 100 level. Though I did well, I did
mhm,
well. There was no qualms about it. I did exceptionally well. But I wish I got that revelation that I got at the end of second year in 100 level. Not like I failed, but I just
mm,
went for it. I was capable. My thinking, my organization, the way I managed my time, the way I did my
mm,
assignments, the way I was adamant about getting things right, keeping
mm, mm,
myself.
mhm.
I did well. I got a 2-1. I
Okay.
finished with a 2-1. But it was
Well,
I think it was that moment that it clicked that I could be, I could do, and I am anything that I want to be, but I have to
mm,
do what I need to do while I can. Oh, and there
mhm,
was a word for me, it was like, well, I'm in school to learn and I'm not going to be in this school forever. Do you understand? I'm only here for a
yeah.
couple of years. I might as well do what I came here for and then think about the gratification after. So if I want to
Mm,
play, if I want to hang out, if I want to do whatever I want to do, I can do it after because there's plenty of
after.
time. And I think
Mm,
so. It was almost like I was embodying make hay while the sun shines without knowing that that's what I was doing.
mm.
And
Interesting.
and time is no friend, but it can be your friend if you think, use it, or like work with it. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I did, and I finished really well. I could not believe my eyes that I got that revelation when I did, and I ran with
Mm,
it. So I think for me, it was getting to that place that I knew that I was here for a season. And while
mm,
and in this season, I will do what's required of me in this season. When I go to the next season, that season that I was in would have passed. So I don't need to stress because I've done that season.
done what you need to do. Yep.
And it was I think I was about 19 or 20,
Mm-hmm.
about 20 when I got that. And in my mind, I'm like,
Mm,
why didn't I get this thing? In fact, since I was, although my primary school was fine, I did well. Third, fourth, third, fourth, maybe second at some
mm,
point, but I did it just like that. It was, as far as I was
mm,
fluke. But for my, I wish I got that in secondary school because it would have helped me also look at the
mm,
season. And I think it's very
mhm,
important because I think we get bogged down for with what we are going through, that we don't realize that where we are is a time.
mm, it's a short season.
Yes,
Yeah.
even though it feels long while you're going through it, it is going to,
Mm,
it's going to be over, and then you move on to another time. So why don't you make use of that time that you have while you have it and do it
mhm,
well, and then move on to the next season where you don't have to deal with
mhm,
the season that you're in because you've already been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And I wish with all my heart I received that in secondary school. But it
mm.
was one of the things that shaped me, and I did exceptionally well. I did
Well
so
done.
well that I was like head of the students for my department, and usually it's a 1 year
Mm,
tenure. They didn't want me to step down. I did it for 2 years.
wow.
So that is how I, like, full circle. There was that, and also there was a renewed confidence. Don't ask me where that came from, but it just,
Mm,
and I wasn't a clicky person, so I can't say I went between cliques. I was my own person, but I went between
mhm,
cliques. I could hang out with any clique. I didn't feel like I needed to conform. I was my own
mm,
person, and I did that. I said,
mm,
I actually did it.
mm,
So
mm.
yeah, that is a joy in itself. When I think about it, I just thank God for that revelation that came when it came. I wish it came earlier, but yes. So that shaped me.
It was an awakening moment from
Awakening,
the sound of it.
yes.
Mm,
Because being, doing, and have anything, that's when that
mhm,
came. So you could be
mm,
anything, you could do anything, but you
mhm,
have to do what you have to do to get to that point, and I did it. So yes,
mm,
that was one of the things that shaped me, and that was like my university. But yes,
mm. And by the way, anyone listening to this, as far as I know, Bidemi wasn't a bad girl, and I wasn't a bad girl. So there are no salacious revelations
no,
here.
no, no.
Just things that shaped us.
Some people
But
beg you to differ, though, but you always
I
have
think
that.
can be
Yeah,
fair. It's
because a
and
lot of people find it impossible that
mm,
you can actually go through life, be a teenager, and not have a salacious past.
it is
So
very
you even
possible.
have, just like when people believe that, all men cheat.
Oh, that's look, that's another
So
situation.
I've actually
Anyway,
stopped. I used to try and tell a friend, a very good friend of mine, a guy, and he almost used
mm,
to, no, he's not a very good friend of mine. He used to be a very good friend of mine. Now we have nothing in
mm,
common. So I used to try and tell him, no, that's not how it is. This person's not like this. And he almost shut me down. I should keep deceiving myself. But I think people say those kind of things because they cannot be that. So to make themselves feel good, they rubbish other
hold
people's
on.
efforts.
Wait. He was telling you not all men cheat or that
No,
all
I
men
was
cheat.
telling him that not all men, and he was telling me I'm deceiving myself. I'm living a
So he
lie.
was a cheat then.
Obviously.
Oh dear.
So I think people hate what they can't become, or because they see misery loves company. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Yes.
safety in numbers. So when you feel that everybody's doing it, you feel good with
Mhm.
yourself, but you don't realize that not everybody's going to toe that line with you. So
No, but I think also because, like you said, he himself was a cheat. So when you are confronting him with his own
mm,
misdemeanor, he
mm,
hated it. I
possible,
think that's
because I said
it.
people hate what they can't be. So because they hate it, they almost rubbish other people's efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah,
Mm,
but yeah. So that's yeah. So people beg to disagree, but that's what I mean. But yeah, but um,
mm,
a lot of things have made us who we are as moms, as
mhm,
friends, as daughters, as sisters, as cousins,
mhm,
any label you can put on us, as wives, as women. These things
mm,
have shaped, formed, and made us who we are. I have a very photographic memory. I will go somewhere and I know how to find my way back. Remember when we went for
mm.
our retreat and I was telling you guys where to go?
The
Almost
route
like I
to
was
go.
picking
I
it up,
remember.
but I knew because
Mhm.
I could connect it, and that is me. It's almost like I
Yeah.
have a grid in my head, and I go somewhere, and the
Yeah.
grid is just So
A download.
navigate, yes, without even
Mm.
the map. So I used to be the
It's
map
good.
of the family because I
It's
used
really,
to go
really good.
when I was younger, we go on trips. So we live on
Mm-hmm.
the island, and my mom, every Sunday, we tried to go around areas. So then there was the Victoria Island extension. It was just being built. The only thing
Mm.
that was there was a few houses and the Methodist Boys Secondary School on the island.
Okay.
There was nothing else there. So when you leave, forgotten the street. Whenever you leave that street anyway, all the houses behind Victoria Island extension. So it was just sand, white sand, and it could be a beach. And then
Mm.
I had an old map that was part of a diary. It was a Wema, not Wema board, or Wemco diary. Or Wahum, sorry, a Wahum diary. I don't know what Wahum is. It was a company, I think, that
Mm.
dealt with steel and wire
Okay.
stuff. It was well known, Wahum. I think I'll check. But every
Okay.
Wahoo diary had a map of Lagos. They had Lagos Island, they had Victoria Island, they have Apapa, they had
Mm-hmm.
every area, Ikeja, that existed.
Mm-hmm.
They had Festa, but there was nothing else.
Mm.
So some places had
Wow.
no names, so they had maps.
Did not
Yes, they
exist.
didn't exist. So I used to be the map reader of the house. So even when we
Wow.
were somewhere and we got lost, I will whip out my map and look at it and say, no, let's go this way. And then we ended up finding our way home. And I did that. So I have a very
Good.
photographic memory. Even till now, my husband, he didn't know the way to his mom's house.
He didn't know.
No, he did.
He followed the sat nav.
Yes.
Is
And I'll say, no, this is the way. And we want to listen to that now. But I always knew the way. All I need to
way.
do is get there once, just once.
Mm.
And then that's it. So I have a very photographic memory. And that has shaped me to who I am, or who I'm becoming,
Mm.
or who I've become because of that
Mother.
memory that is
Mm.
there. So, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot I've now I have actually resolved within myself, and I've chosen not to take on board what I don't need to take on board. So if anything I don't remember, I'm not interested. It's not
Mm.
because it is a bad thing. I just don't want to know because I have too much
Mm.
information. So I have
Yeah, you
information
can't
overload.
retain it.
Yes, so I
Mm.
don't want
Mm.
to. I don't want to.
Mm.
I'd rather give my time and my strength to something else. So I have a very
Fair enough.
photographic memory. I don't forget things easily, and I remember
Mm-hmm.
things, and I remember people, and I remember situations. Sometimes good, sometimes
Mm.
bad. If I don't remember the situation, it's either I didn't like what happened in that situation, I chose to remove myself, or I feign ignorance that I don't remember,
Mm.
but I just don't want to engage. But yes, so that is one thing for me. But having said that, I remember
Mm-hmm.
a very young. So I was born in the early 80s. I was born 81. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And I have a sibling that was born 83 January.
Yes.
And I remember 1982 because she wasn't born. We were in our house. We lived on the base in Ikeja.
Okay.
For some strange reason, there was no light. I don't know how that happened. Maybe there was a fault. And so
Mm.
my mom had carried a candle and put it on
Mm-hmm.
a milk container, pig milk container, a pig milk
Mm.
tin. And she
Mm-hmm.
put it on my dad's briefcase.
Okay.
So my dad was in the military, so he had a briefcase. So he
Mm-hmm.
had where he put all his stuff. He took it to work like his work bag or his laptop bag, as he would call it now.
Mm.
And then I think the candle went out and the briefcase caught fire.
Oof.
My parents were fast asleep because I was the baby and she was expecting my sister. So my sister was born.
Mm.
I was fast asleep and I remember, I don't know if I cried or whatever, and my parents got up. It was just the briefcase that was, but it could have spread because the briefcase was on the dressing table, I think. So it
Oh.
has spread to the whole house and
Wow.
everyone was fast asleep. Basically,
Wow.
it was at night. So I then I think I cried and my mom woke up. She was heavily pregnant. So I don't know,
Mm.
maybe I had just turned one and a bit because I don't know if it was late 82 or early
Mm-hmm.
82. But I remember the fire. I remember the briefcase. I remember the room. I remember how everything was.
Mm.
And my sister wasn't born. And so this is 1982. I
Mm.
was
Mm.
barely two. I was barely one. And I
Mm.
remember that. So there was a day where I was sitting with my mom and I mentioned that to her. And she
Mm.
looked at me and said, you were even a baby. How can you remember that? Because your sister wasn't
Mm.
born. I said, I don't know. I just remember. She said you actually
It's
saved
funny
our
what
you
early
actually saved
memories
our life.
do.
And then I tell my
Mm.
cause my husband in his mind doesn't believe he doesn't remember anything, even the one that happened yesterday, he cannot remember. And so when I tell him I remember stuff from when I was a year old, he said, "Oh, that's a lie. People remember from 5 years old." I'm like, everybody's not like you. I
Oh dear.
totally remember, like proper. Not gist though. I
No,
remember.
it's like the detail of it. The detail of it. One thing that did happen in my early years, I also remember, and this is how it shaped me as well, was me bringing my report card in primary two
Mm,
to my father. The reason I know it's primary two is because of who my teacher was in primary three, and I would explain why. So, I became seventh in the class, and my brother, who is a brainiac, the guy is genius level,
mm,
had once again brought a report card where he was first in the class to my father. And my elder brother gave his report card to my father first. And my father was like, "Well done. You've done such an amazing job. I'm so proud of you." So I was like, this report card thing is a good thing. Oh, let me also present my report card to my father. Of course, I had to anyway, but I was very excited to present that I was seventh, in the class. And he saw it. And he was still enthusiastic, but I could hear from the tone, and I doubt he remembers this. I could hear from the tone he wasn't as enthusiastic as he was with my brother. So I felt I had not done that well. I was seventh, yes, top 10, but this is a class of 20 something
mm,
students.
mm,
But he didn't say that you've not done well. He didn't. But the response I took as I
mm.
hadn't done well.
Yeah.
Literally, from that point onwards, I was the star pupil in my class because it was the end of the year report. So going into primary three, I would not forget her. Her name is Mrs. Odunlami. We still keep in touch, as family to family,
Mm,
even today. And Mrs. Odunlami was from the moment I came into our class till the moment I left and met her again in primary five because she got promoted to a primary five teacher.
mm,
I was her star pupil, and I was consistently that throughout my time in primary school and even into secondary school.
mm,
This is why people call me Efiko in terms of I overdid myself academically because I always wanted to hear my father being extremely proud of my academic achievements because my father is an academic. He's a very brilliant man, and him commending people on their academic achievements is a significant thing, and that I always wanted that to be me. So in a way, I always sought out my father's approval, and that has shaped me, and in more ways than not, for good, in terms of I always strive for excellence in academics or in any professional capacity
mm.
that I'm in a way people could listen to this and hear that, hold on, you also became a people pleaser. And I didn't, because it was one person that I wanted to please. So it didn't matter what anyone else thought
Yeah.
about my achievements, but specifically my father. So yeah, that shaped me definitely as a young person. But Sissy, so you've shared what shaped you in university.
Mm.
You as a mom, has anything shaped the way you are today?
Um, I think yes. So as a mom, I think loss has done that in the sense that I had my first pregnancy was twins and one passed. And
Mm,
so having the other one, I'm grateful
mm,
and thankful and learning how to embrace every moment as it comes.
mm,
Think that is very important because we get so bogged down as wives, as mothers. We are so focused on what is in there, not looking
mm,
at what is there and being
mm,
grateful and thankful and just enjoying those little moments, no matter how stressful sometimes they can be, but
mm,
that what generally, without going into detail that much, that has shaped me in,
mm,
and then also appreciating the man that I get to spend the rest of my life with, and my family and my children as a unit, loving time, being their mom, being
mm,
called
mm,
mom, and then just being around them and being with them and spending time with them, even in the silly things, sort of settling fights or arguments,
mm,
telling them to not say anything or not talk, or even passing wisdom onto them
mm,
or in specific areas, or just generally just being there. I think it's very easy to focus on what you don't have instead of focusing on what you
mm.
have and being.
What you do have.
So that has shaped me.
Mm,
Loss has shaped me to enjoy the moments, no matter how sometimes hard they can be.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Sissy. And I think we've had this conversation many a times.
Mm,
I feel so sad I did not know you then,
mm,
and be a support system for you. But yeah, that must um, have been and still is, in, if you will, in the aftermath,
yeah.
traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah.
Hmm. And it's interesting how trauma shapes people.
Yeah.
Uh, and I see you as a mom who gives her all, literally, you give your all to your family. And in that sense, I must commend you. I definitely commend you, Sissy. And as I'm here now and I have your back,
Mhm.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. But yeah, oh, uh, in adult life, a lot. Because obviously your adult memory, hopefully, if you don't have short-term memory loss, you have more references in your adult life
Yeah.
in terms of things that shape you.
Yeah.
And I think I'll go professional in terms of something that shaped me professionally. It was my second ever female boss. Something she said to me, because my first ever female boss was a horrible person. I don't even remember her name. I just remember her being horrible. And she was an engineer. She was obviously very dissatisfied with her work, her lot in life in terms of work. And she took it out on everyone in the team. I wasn't singled out, if you will, in her by her
Wow.
mistreatment. She was
Yes.
horrible. She was a horrible person. So my second female boss, who is lovely, I still know her. I consider her as a informal mentor. You know, every now and again when we do catch up, it's always filled with encouragement from
Yeah.
her in terms of what I do.
Yeah.
And she said something to me one day that made me realize how I might be perceived in the workplace. And she said, Ibukun, no one thinks as fast as you do. If you do not tell people your thought process, you would lose them. And this threw me for a loop. I like, because she said a lot with that statement.
Mm.
And what it came out as was the way I communicated in the workplace. What I was saying did not make sense to most of the people
Okay.
because I was 10 paces ahead of the resolution to an issue. So in that sense, I needed to not slow down the way I was thinking, but make sure that my thought process was detailed for the people I needed to come along the solution path with me.
Yeah.
And that totally changed my style of communication. And this was about 18 years ago
Okay.
that she made this statement to me. And that has helped me. A lot of people say I actually adapt, like people who have observed me in different communication points
Mm.
professionally will say, Ibuku, how do you do it? Because when you talk to me, it's very quick, if you will, in terms of process. But when you talk to another group of people, you are able to slow it down and then take them step by step to a point of resolution. And at this point in time, it comes a second nature to me, but I had to learn it. I had to learn it because of her observation of me and also her way of translating it to me that allowed me to realize how I was being perceived. So that was definitely a defining moment for
Moment.
me,
Yeah.
adult. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And we I hope this is helping someone understand us, but also encouraging whoever is listening. Sister, I don't know if you want to share one more before we close out.
No, I'm fresh out.
I know you sharing about your baby
Mhm.
definitely is something. And thank you so much for being vulnerable with me again, and also with those listening to us. Um, we are women, as many other women out there that have had life experiences that we would like you to share with us. Share in the comment section what has shaped you, either from childhood, teenage years, or even adulthood.
Mm.
um, and yeah, let us build a community of support for each other. Our experiences do shape us and do make us the people we are today, whether you're a man or a woman listening to us. So thank you so much for listening. Please like, please share, please subscribe. We are two Nigerian women.
Yes.
My name is Ibukun,
And my
and this,
name. Oh,
yeah,
sorry. My name is Abidemi, and thank you for hanging with us. We'll catch you on the next episode. Please be kind to yourselves and each other. Take advantage of every moment that you have, and the time to start whatever you want to start is now. Lots of love.
exactly. Brilliant. God bless. Bye
Bye.
bye.